Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Can you hear? Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Okay. Now you can hear everything, even my breathing. The Lord's teaching to Sanatan Goswami form a bigger chapter in the text of Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, and to explain the whole teachings in minute detail will require a volume in itself. These are treated in detail in our book, Teachings of Lord Chaitanya. At Mathura, the Lord visited all the important places. Then he reached Vrindavan. Lord Chaitanya appeared in the family of a high caste Brahmana, and over and above that, as sannyasi, he was a preceptor for all the varnas and ashramas. But he used to accept meals from all classes of Vaishnavas. At Mathura, the Sanudiya Brahmanas are considered to be in the lower status of society. But the Lord accepted meals in the family of such a Brahmana also because his host happened to be a disciple of the Madhavendra Puri family. There are many things in India in relation to caste system. Depends from what caste you get your rankings. If you're a Brahmin, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, even now if you go to Braj, when we would go for doing Madhukari, we are doing Parikrama in Braj. We would go from Gurukul. No arrangements, nothing. We just go out for 1 month of Parikrama. We don't know where we are going to stay, where we are going to eat. Just go out morning, evening, do Madhukari. Wherever we feel okay, we are tired, we want to take rest. Just ask the ashram over there or the Brajavasis there, and we would just stay there. So the Brajavasis, they would say, oh, don't go to that part of the village. Those are Shudras. And you don't go to their house for Madhukari. And if we don't know and we would go to those houses, they would say, oh, we are low class. Don't take Madhukari from us. You will lose your caste if you even if you drink water from our house. You will lose your caste. You go to either the Kshatriyas or you go to the Brahmanas. So they have their sections. Very, very prominent in Braj. Very prominent. So Mahaprabhu, he himself was born in a very high class family. It's Mishra. He was born in the family of Jagannath Mishra. Interestingly enough, Mishra is not a Bengali surname. According to some Vaishnavas, he was not a Bengali. Strange. Jagannath Mishra is a very high class Brahmin. I think they are the third in line. You have the Sharmas, the Shastris and the Mishras. It's a very high class Brahmins. But then he's taking Madhukari from Sanodiya. Sanodiya is a low class. They're the Brahmins, but not very high class Brahmins. Even among the Brahmins, then you have the Mahanta. Mahanta means he's the priest. Then the lower you get are the ministers. The priest and the teachers, they are the top level. Then you have the ministers. Lower than them, you get those Brahmins who are involved with doctors, because throughout the whole day they are dealing with all the sick people. So their consciousness goes little tamasic, because they are constantly dealing with disease and sick people, and so they are considered towards the lower caste. Mahaprabhu didn't care much about that. He said, here is a Vaishnava, even though he's from a low class, he's a Vaishnava, and moreover, he's from the same lineage, same parampara. He falls under the parampara of Madhavendra Puri. At Vrindavan, the Lord took bath in 24 important bathing places and ghats. He traveled to all the 12 important vanas, forests. In these forests, all the cows and birds welcomed him, as if he were their very old friend. The Lord also began to embrace all the trees of those forests, and by doing so, he felt the symptoms of transcendental ecstasy. Sometimes he felt unconscious, but he was made to regain consciousness by the chanting of the holy name of Krishna. The transcendental symptoms that were visible on the body of the Lord during his travel within the forests of Vrindavan were all unique and inexplicable. And we have just given a synopsis only. Some of the important places that were visited by the Lord in Vrindavan were Kamyavan, Adishwara, Pavan Sarovar, Khadiravan, Sheshashai, Khelatirtha, Bhandirvan, Bhadravan, Shrivan, Lauhavan, Mahavan, Gokul, Kalyadaha, Dwadashaditya Tila, Keshitirtha, etc. So this Dwadashaditya Tila, Keshitirtha, Kalyadaha is all right in Vrindavan. You know where is the Dwadashaditya Tila? Anybody knows? Mataji? Where is it? Yeah, right behind Madan Mohan. Keshatirtha is before that. Very not so far. And when you start from Krishna Balaram temple, you'll first come to Kalyadaha, and then to Keshitirtha, then to Dwadashaditya Tila. Pavan Sarovar is in Nandagram. Nanda Maharaj used to take bath in Pavan Sarovar. He had this desire, he wants to go to Pushkar Tirtha. And Krishna says, forget it, you're not going out of Braj. He says, oh Baba, let's stay for some more time. And the next day he goes to take bath in Pavan Sarovar, which he would do every day. So then he saw this black man riding a black horse. And this black man ran straight all the way into Pavan Sarovar. And then he came out as a white man sitting on a white horse. Nanda Maharaj was like, wow, who are you? He says, I'm Pushkar Tirtha. He says, what? He says, yeah, every day people come in me and they leave all their sins in me. What am I supposed to do? I need to get purified. So I come to Pavan Sarovar to take bath. And when I take bath, I become purified. Nanda Maharaj says, if Pushkar Tirtha, where I want to go, he's coming here, I don't need to go anywhere. So Pavan Sarovar is same as Pushkar Tirtha. Kamyavan. What happened in Kamyavan? Anybody remembers? No? Adishwar. Anybody knows where is Adishwar? No? Khadiravan. Khadiravan is the place where Krishna killed Bakasura. It's called Khaira in Braj. Khaira. There is a Krishna Sarovar there. On the banks of that Sarovar, Krishna ripped apart Bakasura. Sheshashai is not different from Vaikuntha. You go there, there is this big Shila they found with Lord Vishnu lying down, Lord Brahma coming out of the lotus, and all these 33 million demigods on the stone, on the Shila. They found it from the lake in front, Krishna Kunda. Khelatirtha, anybody knows where is Khelatirtha? Ravan Reti. Where Krishna, the sand is very, very soft. It goes during Braj Mandal Parikrama. Devotees, they roll around in that sand over there. There's a big Mayavadi ashram over there. Nice people. Just so if you're a sadhu, you can live there for free. You can do whatever you want inside your bhajan kutir. They will give you a bhajan kutir. You can do whatever you want in there. The only criteria is in the evening when they are worshipping their Guru Maharaj. They have this deity of the Guru Maharaj. When they are worshipping, you just have to be present over there. and participate. As long as you're doing that, you can sit there, you can stay there, you can eat there, no problem. Bhandirvan. Anybody remembers what happened in Bhandirvan? Bhandirvan is a place where Radharani and Krishna got married. There's the tree is still there. There's a deity of Krishna putting, Sindur in Radharani's Simanta. Bhadravan, can't remember what's there. Anybody? Shrivan? No. Lohavan. In Lohavan, Krishna killed a demon called Lohasura. He hit him so hard, and he was, basically, Lohasura was Iron Man. That's what it means. Loha is iron, but he was a asura, So when Krishna hit him, he turned into a statue of iron. He just turned into an Iron Man. And the Hollywood made a big movie out of him. Haribo. Hare Krishna. Mahavan Gokul. Anybody remembers Gokul? Gokul is on the other side of Yamuna River. You go towards the end of the Brajmandal Parikrama to Gokul. There is big Nanda Maharaj's palace over there. Yes. You have a question? Gokul. Okay. So over there, you go to Gokul. There is this deity of Mahadev over there. What's his name? Forgot. Anyway, then you have Brahmanda Ghat, where Krishna ate mud and he showed the universe inside his mouth. Very close to that, so you have, so that's Brahmanda Ghat. And if you walk 7 kilometers, you will come to Nanda Maharaj's palace. And there is this Ukhal Bandhan where Krishna got tied to the mortar. The mortar is still there. It has turned into stone over a period of 5,000 years. So the interesting thing is, he showed the universe inside his mouth in his house. He got tied with the mortar, wooden mortar, in his house. But the difference between the two places is 7 kilometers. It's interesting to know that how big is Nanda Maharaj's house. One side is the northern side, one is the southern side of his house. He's a king, 7 kilometers long house. Then we discuss Kalyadaha, Dwadashaditya Tila, Keshitirtha, etc. When he saw the place where the Rasa dance took place, he at once fell down in trance. As long as he remained at Vrindavan, he made his headquarters at Akrura Ghat. Where is this place where the Rasa dance happened? Anybody remembers the name of that place? It's called Vamshivat. It's also on the banks of Yamuna. It said the tree is 5,000 years old, huge. The tree is bigger than this apartment. With all its branches and then roots coming out, and in itself it's a huge garden. But it is so old. And even today there is Rasa dance happening in that place. If you touch your ear to the tree and you're pure at heart, till today you can hear the sound of mridanga, karatals, trumpets, all the instruments that were used in the Rasa dance. You can still hear them. There have been devotees who claim to hear them. It requires your purity. From Vrindavan, his personal servitor Krishnadas Vipra induced him to go back to Prayag to take bath during the Magha Mela. Magha Mela is Kumbh Mela. Kumbh Mela is considered as the biggest religious gathering. More than 50 million people getting together in one place. The Lord acceded to this proposal, and they started for Prayag. On the way, they met with some Pathans, amongst whom there was a learned Maulana. The Lord had some talks with the Maulana and his companions. And the Lord convinced the Maulana that in the Quran also there are descriptions of the Bhagavata Dharma and Krishna. All the Pathans were converted to his cult of devotional service. When he returned to Prayag, Srila Rupa Goswami and his youngest brother met him near Bindu Madhav temple. This time the Lord was welcomed by the people of Prayag more respectfully. Why would it be more respectfully they welcomed him? Any idea? This is Prayag. What happened in Prayag before? Yes, he defeated those Mayavadi sadhus and he convinced all of them that the philosophy of Achintya Bheda Abheda Tattva, in which you worship Krishna, is the supreme. So when they see him again, they are all his followers. They're like, oh, Guru Maharaj is here. They are all happy to receive him. Vallabh Bhatt, who resided on the other bank of Prayag in the village of Ardaila, was to receive him at his place. But while going there, the Lord jumped in river Yamuna. With great difficulty, he was picked up in an unconscious state. Finally, he visited the headquarters of Vallabh Bhatt. This Vallabh Bhatt was one of his chief admirers, but later on, he inaugurated his own party, the Vallabha Sampradaya. The Vallabha Sampradaya, they are generally either Rajasthanis or Gujaratis, mainly, and they are worshippers of Shrinadji. The Shrinadji, I think there is a form of Shrinadji over there, in which in his left hand is holding up whole Govardhan mountain. This is the same deity which was found by Sri Madhavendra Puri. And later on, he gave the service of Srinathji to Sri Vallabh Bhatt, and then no, because they took it up, they picked it up. Srinathji came to Nathdwara, no? And Nathdwara is on the borders of Rajasthan and Gujarat. Because, see, he was the worshipper of Srinathji. He did go around many times around India, just like Mahaprabhu. He also went around preaching. Now, his philosophy is not different than Mahaprabhu's. They are, how to say, it's the same, basically, but they are named different. I can't remember the name of his philosophy, but they are basically the same thing. Whereas Mahaprabhu emphasizes on the aspects of worshipping Krishna in the conjugal relationship, his emphasis is on parental relationship. So, and the main thing was worshipping Srinathji. So Srinathji came down to Rajasthan. He left Govardhan and he came to Nathdwara. And from there it just spread more in Gujarat and Rajasthan. And more in Gujarat than in Rajasthan. Because if you see his original writings, they are all in Sanskrit. But people only know them in Gujarati. All the songs of Srinathji, they are all written in Gujarati and that's how people know it. But if you see the original ones, they are all in Sanskrit, written by Vallabhacharya. On the bank of the Dashashwamedha Ghat at Prayag, for 10 days continually, the Lord instructed Rupa Goswami in the science of devotional service to the Lord. He taught the Goswami the division of living creatures in 8,400,000 species of life. Then he taught him about the human species. Out of them he discussed the followers of the Vedic principle. Out of them the fruitive workers, out of them the empiric philosophers, and out of them the liberated souls. He said that there are only a few who are actually pure devotees of Lord Krishna. Just the other day I was discussing with one of my teachers in Gurukul that even among devotees, because for us who are in ISKCON, when you say devotees, it only means those who are initiated in ISKCON. Anybody outside ISKCON can't be a devotee. That's like a general general mood that we have. So even among within the ISKCON devotees, you have so many. Forget the whole world. Let's talk about Mayapur. We have so many who are, who are born in ISKCON families, but they have very strong attachments. Very strong. Some of them, they are attached more towards hippie life. Some of them, they get into drugs, into illicit sex, into everything. There are others who are, more into going out into the Karmi world and, making a living. They happen to live in Mayapur, that's it. Nothing much more than that. Then you have others who are, uh, who are devotees, but more like congregation. They only come on Sundays and festivals and participate in programs, but not necessarily very much interested. And then you have others who are more serious and getting into their devotional life. So this is right here in Mayapur, Sridham Mayapur. You get all these varieties of people. So that's what Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is talking. He says he taught him about the human species. Out of them, he discussed the followers of Vedic principles. Because there are so many people who don't. Out of the people who are following Vedic principles, he's talking about fruitive workers, karmis, right? From karmis, then he's talking about empiric philosophers, jnanis. Then out of them, he's talking about liberated souls. And that's why he said there are only very few who are actually pure devotees. Because even among liberated souls, not everybody is a pure devotee. Yeah, they are jnanis. They have understood it according to philosophy that they are not supposed to be in this material world, but not necessarily have attachment to Krishna. They appreciate his form, his qualities, his pastimes, but there is no attachment to Krishna. Srila Rupa Goswami was the younger brother of Sanatana Goswami, and when he retired from the service, he brought with him 2 boatfuls of gold coins. That is something very useful. 2 boatfuls of gold coins. We have these boats going up and down, Navadvip Ghat and Mayapur Ghat. 2 full of those. This means that he brought with him some hundreds of thousands of rupees accumulated by the labor of his service. And before leaving home for Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he divided the wealth as follows: 50% for the service of the Lord and his devotees. That means 1 boat full of gold coins gone. 25% for relatives, and 25% was for his personal needs in case of emergency. In that way, he set an example for all householders. So that means he had, half a boat of gold coins, which he kept for himself just in case he needs it for emergency. And Sanatana Goswami used that half boat to come out of his jail, right? So they had nothing. Shad Goswami Ashtakam, he talks about that these Goswamis, they had wealth which could not be counted. Immense amount of wealth they had, big positions they had, name, fame, you name it. And Raghunath Das Goswami wanted to run away from home, so just to keep him at home, his father and uncle would spend so much money on their guards. They couldn't maintain him, so they thought, okay, let us get him married to this extremely beautiful girl. And still he ran away. That is the amount of attachment they had for Krishna. Nothing in the material world could stop them. It's just the desire that I don't want anything other than Krishna. Nothing else. And then When they are living in Vrindavan, it says Kaupina Kanthasritau. What are they having? They have their kaupin and kantha. Kantha is a kind of blanket. So, during winter, you just put it on yourself. Otherwise, you can wear it as a gamcha and move around like that. That's it. And a kamandalu. From having two boards of gold coins to one kopin, one kantha, one kamandalu, and a night under a new tree every day. Right? This requires some serious attachment to Krishna. The Lord taught the Goswami about devotional service, comparing it to a creeper, and advised him to protect the bhakti creeper most carefully against the mad elephant offense against the pure devotees. In addition, the creeper has to be protected from the desires of sense enjoyment, monastic liberations, and perfection of Hatha Yoga system. They are all detrimental on the path of devotional service. Similarly, violence against living beings and desires for worldly gain, worldly reception, and worldly fame are all detrimental to the progress of bhakti or Bhagavad Dharma. It says you have a creeper. If a mad elephant gets it, he destroys the creeper, uproots it. It's finished. But at the same time, you're protecting it from the mad elephant. At the same time, there is a lot of weed which grows around. So you have to cut it out. These are the desires of beginning perfection in Hatha Yoga system, monastic liberation. There was one devotee. During Mahaprabhu's time, and he had a friend who was a follower of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Can't remember his name. But some Hatha Yogi came who is able to walk on water. He said, come, let's go, let's see him. He says, no, I'm not interested. No, you must come, you should see him. And this devotee is sitting there, brushing his teeth, using the neem twig to brush his teeth. He says, look, I'm not interested. I have to perform my devotion. I said, come on, just come and see this yogi. He got so annoyed that he took his neem twig, he sat on it and flew around. Came back, continued brushing his teeth. And this other friend, he just looked at him, was shocked, and he went away. Because a person who performs devotional service, all this kind of siddhis and yoga, they become like servants. Yeah. Even they don't even ask for liberation. There is one bhajan in Gujarati. They say, Ante mukti jini dasi re. He says, at the end of devotional service, mukti or liberation is waiting outside the door. He says, my Lord, please accept me. Please take liberation and go back home, back to God. Devotee doesn't care. Pure devotional service must be freed from all desires of sense gratification, fruitive aspirations, and culture of monastic knowledge. One must be freed from all kinds of designations, and when one is thus converted to transcendental purity, one can then serve the Lord by purified senses. Give up all kinds of designations. Rupa Goswami mentions that in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. Sarvopadhi Vinirmuktam. All designations, you give it up. Yes, Mataji.
It says that bhakti is transcendental, right?
Yes.
So even in a neophyte state, when one is performing bhakti, right, that moment, even during dancing, that says nectar of devotion, when one experiences ecstasy, it is like a moment of transcendence, right?
Yes.
So we just not said that it's very rare for anyone to gain bhakti, pure bhakti, right?
Yes.
Just said that. So how can you explain that? Because
See, Mataji, even in neophyte stage, you get that moment. right? And that moment happens once in 10 years, sometimes. Once in, 10 months. Once in 10 days. Once a day. It can happen. But for a pure devotee, that's all the time. So that moment of transcendence that you get, that pure devotional service is there because you might be in complete trance. And then as soon as you recognize that, it's gone. Many times if you're singing kirtan or you are dancing in the kirtan, you are studying Bhagavatam, you're not in this world. You're somewhere else. That at the moment you think this is special, it's gone. You don't see it anymore until and unless you get it again. But the thing is, for pure devotees, that's what it's normal. You can be completely in Krishna consciousness, complete ecstasy. And a moment goes, it's like, wow, who's that? Or it's like, somebody played the kartal, in a mistake, like, oh, what's that? So that moment, that the transcendence is gone. But for pure devotee, they are called pure devotee is because the transcendence remains throughout the whole time. That's why they are pure devotees. That is transcendental. Is that okay, Mataji? Devotional service. No. As long as there is desire to enjoy sensually, or to become one with the Supreme, or to possess the mystic powers, there is no question of attaining the stage of pure devotional service. Forget it. You're not going to get it. As long as you want to enjoy your senses, you are thinking of merging into the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and you want to, your desires of mystic powers. As long as you have these desires, you can't become a pure devotee. You have to give it up. Devotional service is conducted under two categories, namely primary practice and spontaneous emotion. If we say it in our words that we actually understand, that's Vidhi Bhakti and Raga Bhakti. So either you do it primary practice or spontaneous emotion. When one rises to the platform of spontaneous emotion, he can make further progress by spiritual attachment, feeling, love, and much higher stages of devotional life, for which there are no English words. Rati. How do we say Rati in English? So there are much higher stages of devotional life. We have tried to explain the science of devotional service in our book, The Nectar of Devotion, based on the authority of Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu by Srila Rupa Goswami.
Prabhu, so what about those people I see are performing so many austerities, right? From young age, like Purushottam, Kartik, even young kids and 12, 13-year-olds are performing all that. Yes. So I'm saying,
So it's
are they actually very close to pure bhakti?
not necessarily. Not necessarily. Like we have the pastime of this brahmachari who was only drinking milk, and he wanted to enter the kirtan of Mahaprabhu in Srivas Angan. And so I only drink milk. So how does that qualify you to enter Mahaprabhu's kirtan in Srivas Angan? No, please allow me. I'm a lifelong brahmachari. I only drink milk. Srivas Thakur was like, okay, come. And Mahaprabhu starts doing his kirtan. He says, Srivas, I can't feel the same ecstasy. There is someone there. Like, no, Mahaprabhu, there is nobody there. Okay, after some time, Srivas, I can't feel it. There's someone here. Sorry, Mahaprabhu, there is this brahmachari. He only drinks milk. His whole life, he's a lifelong brahmachari. And so, get out. Mahaprabhu kicked him out. And then, because he has only drunk milk, his consciousness is quite good. So he says, yes, I should have been kicked out. I have no adhikar to be in this kirtan. But it was only by the mercy of Vaishnava like Srivas Thakur that I got to have a glimpse of what is Mahaprabhu's kirtan. It was good that I was kicked out. Then Mahaprabhu says, now he's qualified to enter. Because he doesn't have that ahankar. Oh, I only drank milk. Yeah, oh, here we are. Out of time. You can remind me again. Anyway, next time I can tell you the story of this. Anyway, I will tell it in short. Otherwise, I can't digest my prasad tonight. There was this great Vaishnava. His name was Gyaneshwar. He was about 15 years old. Sant Gyaneshwar. And he had two other brothers and a sister. All four of them liberated souls, pure devotees. Gyaneshwar, Sant Gyaneshwar, he wrote his his purports to Bhagavad Gita at the age of 12. And he started preaching. At the age of 8, he made a buffalo chant Purusha Sukta. Because he said we are all living entities. He was actually born after his father had taken sannyas. So he gave up sannyas, he came back to his Grihastha ashram, and then these 4 kids were born. So they were as a rejected, people of the society. How can a sannyasi come back into Grihastha life? Rejected. So nobody respected them. And because of that, when they were quite small, and they were like 4 or 5 years old, the parents both jumped into the river, committed suicide. They just couldn't handle it. And then this brothers and sister, they tried to survive, but many people were against them. So very few were, favorable. And then one of the favorable persons, they say you should go to this place called. Keep forgetting this place. Anyway, there's a place in Maharashtra. I forgot the place, but that was considered as the place of all this big learned scholar Brahmins. Huh? No. Dehu is the place of Tukaram Maharaj. And yeah, it starts with P. It's not Pandharpur. Anyway, so they went there, and they said, this is how we took birth. How can we get Upanayanam? We can get samskaras. So the Brahmins sat there, this big learned Brahmins, they sat there for 4 days, going through different shastras, and he says, sorry, we can't help you. You are outcast. And he says, how can I be an outcast? I'm a part and parcel of Shri Krishna. And he's like, what? He says, Krishna says in Gita, every living entity is part and parcel of him. And he is the seed-giving father. And says, oh, so you think you are more intelligent than all these Brahmins sitting here? He says, I'm not saying that. But we are all part and parcels of the Lord. We have to be dealt properly. We can't be considered as an outcast. He says, oh, so you think that buffalo walking out over there on the street is also part and parcel? And it's the same as you? He said, yes. He says, can you make him speak? He says, yes. He walks up to the buffalo and starts chanting Purusha Sukta. The Brahmins freak out. How can an outcast, doesn't have Upanayanam, how can he chant Vedic mantras? They close his mouth, they shut his mouth. You can't chant it. And they shut his mouth, and the buffalo starts, continuing the Purusha Sukta. Like, everyone was shocked. How can he do that? And then they gave him a letter. You are a great devotee. Who are we to judge you? So they come back to their village. Their village name is Alandi. They come there and they show the paper, and the Brahmins says, forget it. What's the meaning of this paper? They threw it away and just get out of here. He says, so they left the place. They left the village. They went to the next village. They started preaching Bhagavad Gita. And there was this very big yogi, 1400 years old. Chandak Muni, 1400 years old. So these villagers, they went to him, you got to get rid of that guy. He's too much. He's an outcast. So he did, he wanted to write him a letter, and he didn't know how to write it, how to start, what to say. Please accept my blessings. No, but he's a he's a great personality. I can't say, please accept my blessings. It says, please accept my humble obeisances. No, but I can't write that because I'm way senior to him. 1400 years old. That guy is 12. So he didn't know how to start a letter. So he just sent a blank letter. So if he is a great devotee, he will understand. And he writes a letter back, as brothers, because we are the sons and particles of the Supreme Personality of God. And he sends a letter back. It's like, wow, I must go and see him. So what he does with his yoga power, he calls a tiger. He sits on a tiger. In his hand, he's having a venomous, poisonous snake, and he starts going. And all these thousands and thousands of people are following him. And while they are going, then there is, the trees are all fallen down in the forest. With his, yogic power, he, makes them all stand up and creates a path and walks all the way there. Now in Alandi, where the four, the brothers and sister are, they get the news that this big saint, Chandak Muni, is coming, riding an elephant, riding a tiger, having a poisonous snake in his hand. He's coming. Such a big rishi, 1400-year-old, he's coming to see us. They say, oh, we should go to receive him. At that time, they were sitting on a wall, outside. You have these boundary walls surrounding your houses. So they were sitting on that wall, and Sant Gyaneshwar, he says, hey, let's go. And the wall starts flying, and they fly over there to meet this Chandak Muni. When he saw that, he went flat on the ground paying obeisances. He says, after 1400 years of tapasya, I have control over all living entities. You are 12 years old. You are flying on a wall which is dead. So he became his devotee. But the thing is, how did he get that mystic power? He got that mystic power by the performance of devotional service. There were people, they came, oh, you're teaching wrong things, it's completely nonsense what you're teaching, because he was teaching Bhagavad Dharma. Because that's nonsense, you have to follow the Vedic, the Vedic philosophy and impersonalism and all those kind of things he was talking. And they said, okay, if I have made a mistake, I'll give up my life. So they kept Bhagavad Gita in front. All four of them sat down, meditating on Bhagavad Gita, and they lit their hut on fire. And all these people are like so happy, hey, the guy is dying. Bhagavad Gita swallowed up the whole fire. They came out untouched. Devotional service. At the age of 16, he went inside Samadhi, alive. He went in, they told him to cover it up. That's it. At the age of 16, he said, my mission is complete. Why devotional service?
Yeah, I think Krishna was to give the Gita to Maharaj, right?
Yeah, that's a very famous Gita there. The transcendental devotional service has 5 stages of reciprocation. The self-realization stage, just after liberation from material bondage, is called the Shanta or neutral stage. After that, when there is development of transcendental knowledge of the Lord's internal potency, the devotee engages himself in Dasya stage. By further development of Dasya stage, a respectful fraternity with the Lord develops, and above that a feeling of friendship on equal terms becomes manifest. Both these stages are called Sakhya stage or devotional service in friendship. Above this is the stage of parental affection towards the Lord, and this is called the Vatsalya stage. And above this, the stage of conjugal love, and this stage is called the highest stage of love of God. Although there is no difference in the quality in any of the above stages, the last stage of conjugal love of God is called the Madhurya stage. Thus he instructed Rupa Goswami in devotional service and deputed him to Vrindavan to excavate the lost sites of the transcendental pastimes of the Lord. After this, the Lord returned to Varanasi and delivered the sannyasis and instructed the elder brother of Rupa Goswami. We have already discussed this. The Lord left only 8 shlokas of his instructions in writing, and they are known as the Sikshashtaka. All other literatures of his divine cult were extensively written by the Lord's principal followers, the six Goswamis of Vrindavan and their followers. The cult of Chaitanya philosophy is richer than any other, and it is admitted to be the living religion of the day, with the potency of spreading as Vishwadharma or universal religion. We are glad that the matter has been taken up by some enthusiastic sages like Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj and his disciples. We shall eagerly wait for the happy days of Bhagavad Dharma or Prema Dharma inaugurated by Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And then there are the 8 shlokas. I think we will go through them next Sunday, so we can be on time for Damodar Ashtakam. ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय, श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय, समवेत गौर भक्त वृंद की जय, निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल।